everyone. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Seams. I'm Lucky Grimm, as always, and today we're going to talk about boudoir photography and cosplay. This is a super hot button issue for us right now, and I got two amazing panelists here with me today. First, I have Misa Cosplay.
Hello.
And I have Vinny from Vander the Generalist.
Hi.
Now, Vinny is one of mine and Misa's favorite photographers for boudoir shooting. He did one of our most well-received bathtub shoots recently. And he's pretty much a staple here in the New England area for doing sexy cosplay shoots and boudoir shooting. Now, Misa, we like to get sexy.
We do. We're awful, awful people.
And we just want to talk to you guys today about what goes into doing boudoir shooting. It's become much more popular now. It's a whole new avenue of creativity for cosplayers to show their love for their favorite characters while also getting a boost of confidence.
Less stigma attached to it now.
Yeah, I think that's very true. It was, I mean, when I first came into the cosplay scene, it's something that you didn't ever see at all. It just wasn't done, which is funny considering sexy cosplay has a history dating back for literally decades, but it just wasn't something that you saw. And I think in recent years with the surge in popularity of things like Patreon, of, you know, increased social media platforms for people to show their work on, some of which don't really censor sexier photos, I think it's become much easier for people to actually get that content out there, and as such it's become a lot more accepted.
We've had boudoir shooting for many years, and sexy cosplay has been around for a long time. See our episode on the history of cosplay for a little bit more of that. But it's been around forever, but I think somewhere in the last 5 years, we all went as a group like, this is cool. We're all gonna do this. Like, this is socially acceptable now. You as a photographer have gained a pretty big following with the boudoir shooting.
People love it. I mean, it's for many reasons, I'm sure. It could either be favorite cosplayer, favorite character, or, you know, people looking sexy as hell.
I also like, we like working with Vinny because he works with a team. And we can also do the creativity side. And he gets those exact shots that we like. And our first question the audience wanted us to ask today is, why do you do boudoir shooting? Misa?
You may not know this about me, but I'm a giant nerd. And in high school, I was the super dorky, awkward kid. I was just scrawny, flat-chested. I hadn't figured out how to do makeup yet, so I had really bad acne. I actually wore glasses in high school, so I was just that really awkward, unsexy person, and I never viewed myself as sexy even at all. Like, to this day, I still
sexy?
I know. I just have trouble thinking of myself as sexy. I'm like, oh, I'm the cute girl, and it's just, sexy is just not in my vocabulary. So the nice thing about combining boudoir photography with cosplay is that it allows me to take on the embodiment of a character and be sexy as that character, which opened up a lot of doors for me. Because for me, like, as myself, it's hard to, you know, think, oh, be sexy, you know, just be sexy. But, you know, if I do a character like Black Canary, who is like oozing sex appeal, it's more easy for me to get into the mindset of that character and be like, oh yeah, I'm Dinah Lance and I am sex on a stick. And it kind of helps to translate better.
It's about the same for me. I've been plus size my whole life. And I jumped into doing boudoir shooting recently, like in the last couple of years. And it was a huge boost of confidence for me. I've always had body issues. I've always been plus size. There's not hiding it. I like carbs. And it's one great thing to boost your confidence. Also, I love the creativity behind it. Yeah. One of mine and Misa's favorite things to do is after a big convention crunch, like we just had KatsuCon, and we were going nuts.
Oh, it was bad.
Can attest. Crazy person.
Oh, yeah.
We were going nuts. We busted out multiple costumes, large builds, and we were burned out.
Yeah.
So we got together and we did a bathtub boudoir shoot, just playing with makeup, just figure out what worked, what didn't. It's a great palette cleanser.
It really is.
For creativity. And most boudoir shooting that we do now, it's just great, just making it work, figuring it out. Styling is one of my favorite things to do in the world. It's what I do professionally. And it's a great thing to new creativity outlet. And one of the things like why we stick with cosplay for so long is there's always some new creativity to play with.
And bath bombs are super new, so that's not like insanely new, but like year, 2 years is when they became super popular, and that's just a lot of fun because you're getting this thing that will release a color, and then you can use that color to, like, if someone wants to do a She-Hulk, you could do green, but you could also do purple if you wanted to, and have that go off of color. There's just so much versatility with it.
Recently, the photos we did with you in the bathtub, we talked a friend of the show, Koi Fish Asylum, into doing a very quick shoot with us. She did her Harley Quinn in a neon green bath, like the chemical bath the Joker puts her in. And it was so much fun. Why did you get into boudoir shooting?
Well, first things, I'll be honest, one of the first things I got paid for was actually doing a couple of those for a friend who wanted pictures for their boyfriend, her boyfriend. So, like, that led into it, or at least it started my comfort zone to be okay with doing it. Like, I'm a guy, I like it in general, I'm a giant nerd, I like it in general, but that small step there led to me finding people who were comfortable with it, who felt comfortable with me, and just small experiments, and I wanted to make photos that were enjoyable to people who were nerds, people who don't mind expressing their sexuality, and just be like, yes, this is awesome. And then I got to work with friends on it, and like then we just got to do crazy stuff, and then it was like, well, I'm not going to stop.
Yeah, I think it can't really be stated enough how important it is to really be friends with your photographer in that type of situation, because you're quite literally bearing yourself for an individual to photograph and preserve for all eternity. And that level of trust is so, so important. Like, if you are not comfortable with your photographer, it's gonna show in the pictures. So having that relationship with them beforehand really helps to build that that comfort level and that confidence to know that you're in good hands.
You gotta trust this person. Because you, the audience, only gets to see like the hero photos, like the perfectly edited, done up photos, and for every like sexy photo shoot, maybe like 3 or 4 are like the standouts, which you get to see, and there are gigs of outtakes.
There are so many outtakes
on our phones alone of each other.
That was a great time.
If we ever break up friend wise, I have so much blackmail material. But
Never.
No, every time I shoot with Robin Studios, I swear to God, for every sexy photo that I post online, there's about 10 just full-on derp.
Ben's a king at this, too.
One day he's going to publish a book of us just derpy. If you guys want to know more about Robin's photography, he's a friend of all of us. Once again, was on a previous episode with me. Go ahead and look that up. We'll put the link down below. A+ guy.
Oh, yeah. He's really awesome. And he's been doing it so before it was even a big thing in the community, he was doing that type of work, and it was amazing. Like, it's always, his work has never not been amazing as far as I've ever seen it, and you should definitely check him out.
Vinny, how do you like foster that relationship with a cosplayer, whether they're a veteran or they're like new to this?
Well, I will be honest. You usually never just jump straight into the boudoir. I've had a couple, but it's usually very, like, me and Misa, we've been shooting together for 5 years-ish now.
4 or 5 years,
and like we've had like 30 other shoots before we ever did that. And like I think me and you had quite a few. There's a relationship.
Misa's my test subject for new photographers. I wait and see what happens with her, and then I'm like, okay, I trust them.
Apparently,
hey, Vinny, what's up?
Apparently, it was a 4-year gap. Had to wait
I make friends with like everyone that I meet. So like anytime I meet a photographer, it's like, okay, we're shooting stuff. Okay, and then she looks at the photos from my shoot, and she's like, oh, okay, I like this person. I'll shoot.
I trust now.
Yeah, but it's just you have to. First, you have to offer it, but before you even offer it, you should, for photographer side, you should test with somebody. Someone you trust, someone who trusts you. Whether or not you post the photos or use them for anything, that's fine, but give the test and see if you're comfortable giving someone else direction, and if that person receives direction well from you. That's the biggest thing. You have to have a level of comfort. Once you can do it, then maybe you can actually do it with people who you don't know, or people that you don't know as well, and that they'll be comfortable with you. Like, comfort is literally comfort, consent, 2 most important things when it comes to this stuff. If someone doesn't want to show off something, someone doesn't want to pose a certain way, you have to respect that.
Yeah. And with us, like, as like outside of costumes, I also take photography. I always talk to my subject, be like, what are you comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? Like give me like the bullet points of like what you do want to show, what do you not want to show, what do you want to show off, Like, are there any poses you want to do specifically? And I'm a Vargas girl. Like, I love old school pinups. If you don't know who that is, please Google it. It'll help you a lot. I love looking at old art and trying to recreate that.
Yeah.
With you, Vinny, how is it? We've worked as a team before. Yeah. How important is it to have a stylist with you?
I have enough stylist friends that I can almost have someone at every single shoot I do. But I mean, if I could, I'd hire you or one of like my 3 other friends that I love. I just love their work to do, and I'd have them all the time. You can do it, have someone do their own work, and if they know the character well, they can probably get something together that'll definitely work. And I mean, not everyone can afford a stylist or MUA, and that's fine. But when you have someone who professionally understands color, shading, all of that, especially for the face, which is one of the most important assets, it's just great to have.
And what we mean by styling is there's a hidden person behind the camera that's not the photographer. And that's the person that makes sure your hair is set, makes sure the model's bits are tucked where they need to be, make sure like a string's not here, make sure the contacts are correct. Just, they're the proofreader before things go to print.
And it's very important to have that in addition to the photographer, because the photographer, their job and what they're looking for is lighting and composition and framing. And they can be so wrapped up in those because that's their focus that sometimes, you know, if there are a few hairs out of place, they're not going to notice it because they're looking at the big picture. So having someone else there who can specifically be looking for, you know, is my hair messed up? Is my mascara smudged? You know, is my chicken cutlet poking out of my bra? It's kind of important.
Especially if like you're trying to just like get a face at the perfect angle, and it's like, yeah, but did you notice that there's like 5 strings loose right down over there? It's like, no, because I'm looking at this, not this right now.
Recently, we did this amazing group project, and we got an Airbnb, middle of nowhere, Massachusetts, and it was great. And Vinny got this whole team together, and at the end of the day, it came down to doing these bath shoots that we're gonna be showing you guys photos of during this. And I think there's like one lighting person, Vinny's shooting, she's in the bathtub, and I'm in the back trying to hold the hair.
And someone's also like holding me up because I'm standing on like a stool going like this trying to get the right shot. So that was fun.
And she's just like, and my hair, of course, like as soon as it gets wet, it's just so fine. It just, so she like right before each shot, she just like reaches down, just like fluff the hair, and Vinny shoots, fluff the hair.
And what you see with these photos is they're like, oh, cool, you got a photographer and a model. I'm like, no. There's a team of like, in this one bathroom, a team of like 5 or 6 of us. Yeah. Not to mention the group behind us outside of the bathroom, like making sure none of us like die.
Yeah, my partner's just sitting on the bed to the room and just yelling in, "You guys okay?"
And doing this type of teamwork is super fun. Yeah. And we all got this one great image that we can all share credit in. And one more fun thing we have to talk about with boudoir shooting is the ethics behind it. With anything, there are unspoken rules, spoken rules. Misa, what are your hard no's with boudoir photography?
Honestly, I don't specifically have one. For me, it really depends on who I'm shooting with and the level of comfort. There are plenty of photographers that I am perfectly willing to shoot with in my underwear and just, you know, very revealing outfits. And then there's photographers that I will just get naked in their living room because I don't care. And it's just, it really just depends on how well I know them and, you know, how comfortable I am around them. But I know at the start of the shoot, like what my boundary is, and I'm never going to go past that. And it's very important to kind of visualize that in your head, because if the photographer you're shooting with does ask for something that you maybe aren't necessarily comfortable with, you need to be able to respect yourself enough to be like, no, I don't want to cross that line. And they need to respect that as well.
Benny?
For me, the only real limit I have is it really depends on the age of the character that I'm shooting. For the most part, I really don't care. You can take a character like Daenerys, which I haven't really done yet, who is technically underage in most of their stories, but you can always imagine her older. You can imagine her in like 5 years from then and stuff like that. And I definitely don't mind being like, hey, this character as an adult. But then there are certain lines that get crossed sometimes where it's like, this character is 8 years old. We just probably shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, prepubescence kind of. But like I've done a sexy like lowly Merida shoot before because I'm that awful of a human being. But yeah, prepubescent, that's a whole
we've done
other
awful things.
There are certain limits like that, but I mean, I've never drawn a limit to like how many lights I want, how many people I want jumping on a bed, messing up each other's stuff, or like I don't have a limit when it comes to the photo itself, as long as everyone there is okay with it and we can have a good time doing it.
Yeah. When it comes to safety, this all goes into safety too. Always go with a friend.
Yes.
I don't care if you are a grown woman, a dude, anybody, what gender, race, type, whoever you are, go with a friend.
I would say less than 2.
Yeah.
I've had people show up with 4 friends before. I'm like, I understand a need for comfort level, but we need space to work.
Yeah. Always having that safety net.
Yeah. It's good. Usually, I mean, for me, it's usually either her or my boyfriend. And not only does it help because you have that person there who can help you to enforce your limits, but they can act as your stylist. They can act as lighting assistant. I can't count the number of times my boyfriend has been roped into just holding a light in this awkward position to like get it at the right angle. And it definitely helps just for the pictures as well to have someone else there just assisting.
What are your tips for keeping safe while doing boudoir photography?
As far as physical safety, listen to your body, because a lot of times you're contorting yourself into some very unnatural shapes. For me, I have a lot of chronic pain issues, a lot of muscular and skeletal things that just don't allow me to do things that other people might be able to. So if I'm, constantly arching and contorting, my body starts to notify me like when it gets too bad. And I have like that hard stop, or I'm like, okay, we're done with this now, because otherwise I'm going to regret it later. As far as your personal safety, always have a friend with you. Don't go into someone else's space that you are not very close with. It's one thing to meet up with a photographer that you maybe don't know as well outside of photo shoots in a communal space, like if you're at a convention and you're, in a hotel room at the convention center versus going to their house if you don't know them that well. That's something I would not do.
Personally, for safety, I make sure I research the person I'm shooting with. I look in their portfolio, their background. I always make sure I know at least 1 or 2 people that they've shot with before, so I can be like, hey, can I have a reference on this person? I make sure their work has all different sizes of people, because as a plus size person, it's very easy for someone to be like, oh, I've never shot a plus size girl. Let's try this. And I'm like, ooh, I can't show these to anybody. And I always bring a friend. I bring my husband with me. I bring you with me. Bring Robin's photography with me. I was like, just get the car, let's go. And I'm a big proponent of group event shoots, like with what Vinny does, because there's like a whole group of us. So we're all fairly comfortable. And if it's a new photographer I'm working with, I'm like, okay, cool. There are 10 other people here in this area that I can like yell for if I need help or anything. What are your safety tips for cosplayers getting into this?
Basically the 3 things that were just mentioned. So physical safety, this is less on the photographer side, but it's something for photographers to be aware about when you're shooting with someone. You really should we ask for some weird poses, and you should respect that. Most people's bodies can only stand so much for so long. So as Misa said, you should definitely have your model get where their face needs to be. Everything else can sit normal. Work on your lighting for what you need, and then say, hey, now we're going to get in the pose. And because you could work on lighting for 5 minutes while someone's holding the worst pose ever, and that's not fair to that person. As for photographers, also watch where you're going when it comes to someone else's place. While you're less likely to be in a physical an area for like harassment, especially like sexually, you're probably not going to worry about that. If you're bringing equipment, it could be expensive equipment, cheap equipment. You don't want equipment to go missing. You still don't want bad things to happen. And if you don't understand the people in the room and like their attitude, you want to watch out for what's going to happen with that. I also do agree with you that group shoots are better. I'm going to do another one this year because that was a lot of fun. It let people try out different people. And if you didn't want it, it was like a buffet. I didn't like that. I'm going to just keep eating, chicken teriyaki because...
I'm vegetarian. Moving on from that, when it comes to the tech, the type of cameras used, what type of lenses do you prefer? I'm a lens hooker. Like I collect them. It's bad. What's your favorite type of lens? I know you shoot with Sony, yes?
Yes.
Okay. What type of lenses do you like to use with boudoir shooting?
So that very much depends on where you're shooting a lot. So if you are going to conventions and going to hotels a lot, unfortunately, they don't always have the best artwork and stuff behind. So what's nice is a lens with low aperture, so you can just... It's mush. It's not actual anything you have to pay attention to. The subject's the focus, but then the background still looks pretty, even if it maybe is not. A lot of people like, the classic 24-70 2.8 because you get a variety of angles and you can use zoom in, zoom out. You can get full body. I like 50s. Nifty 50s are amazing.
I'm a 50 prime addict. 50 prime in my 35.
Yes.
Are like my favorite things to use, both at conventions, just shooting on the floor, and then also boudoir shooting. Yeah. And that's like 50 prime is what I use 90% of the time when you see me do like a makeup look and I post a photo. It's just with my 50 prime and like a little trigger on the side. Smooths everything out in the back. Can't see anybody. Also, Katsucon this year was a huge, amazing discovery because there's these gorgeous blue curtains hanging behind the beds. Yep. Oh, you weren't in the same wing we were.
No.
Okay, so the wing we were in was like that hidden wing on the 3rd floor, and one whole wall was covered in navy blue curtains, and then the bed was right in front of it, so we could do boudoir shooting with navy blue curtains in the back, and nobody was any the wiser.
I'm going to ask for that room next year.
It's evil because you have to go down to the lobby, walk to those elevators next to the lobby, and then go up one floor. It's a butt. But nobody woke us up at night because nobody else was on that wing.
Entire thing so no one understands where it is. We don't want to share this.
Nobody wants it because nobody can find the room. Now, Misa, we've played lighting hockey quite often.
Yes.
How important is your lighting kit?
Indispensable. Lighting, good, proper lighting makes the difference between a crappy, underexposed, can't use it even after hours of editing photo versus something that right out of the camera you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to tweak this in Lightroom and this in Lightroom. Okay, and I'm good to post it. For me, I have so much lighting equipment at home. I have 2 studio umbrella lights that live in my sewing room that I use for just work in progress pictures that then usually migrate to the bathroom if we're doing like a bath bomb shoot. And then I also have 2 soft boxes that live at my computer for streaming and so forth. So I am constantly, like if I'm taking a selfie, it's generally either going to be under my studio lights or in natural lighting.
I'm a big proponent of the ring light. I use a ring light for pretty much everything. Everything that you see of my makeup looks on my Instagram feed is ring light. They're not that expensive. Lighting kits have come down in price a lot in the past couple of years. Yeah. And we're just slowly collecting. The shoot we did at Colossal Con East last year in the bathtubs, we did a Ruby-themed shoot. It was all natural lighting and then one very well-keyed ring light. Wayfinder Photography was the photographer for that, and she A+ got it like instantly.
Yeah, I think we were in that tub for what, like 5 minutes?
Like 5 minutes. Yeah, we were done. It was gross. Moving on from that, we want to talk a little bit about how to do the bathtub photobomb shoots that we've been doing.
Photobomb?
The bath bomb shoots.
The bath bomb photobomb shoot.
Okay, either way.
Yeah, there's definitely key points to keep in mind when you're working with bath bombs, a lot of which we've learned the hard way through trial and error. So
learn from our mistakes.
Yes. So first and foremost, all bath bombs are not created equal. When it comes to bath bomb shooting, I mean, there's lots of companies out there that make bath bombs. You can get them from Lush, from Hot Topic.
They're from Target now?
Yeah, Target. My preferred go-to brand is Witch Baby Cosmetics. Witch Baby Soap.
Witch Baby Soap on Etsy.
They are so amazing. Their bath bombs are so pigmented. They do not stain fabric. So if you want to get in the tub in lingerie or just like with some draped
we
fabric,
put you in one in like a white
lace bralette in a green bath, and it didn't tint it at all. They are just A+.
Awesome. You were there.
So yeah, so those are really, really good. The Lush ones, I'm not as big of a fan of for bath bomb shoots because they're not as pigmented.
They're
so
not
you have
as
to, like,
pigmented.
You end up throwing like 2 or 3 in just to get like a nice rich hue to the water.
With the Lush, you have to get them like super fresh. Like you have to use them pretty much instantly that you buy them.
Yeah.
And then we like to bump up the opacity. What's the word?
Opacity.
That one. I have a speech impediment. Did you know?
It was a good word.
With milk.
Yeah.
We just pour almond milk into the bathtub and it increases the
Opacity.
that one. I have a speech impediment.
Yeah, we prefer almond milk to actual cow milk because, number one, it's not going to curdle. If it gets in your skin and your hair, you don't have to then worry about shampooing it out. You're going to smell like spoiled milk. The almond milk is actually really hydrating and nourishing, so it actually makes your
so
skin...
soft.
Oh, we were
for like
so
a
soft.
week.
Between the bath bombs and the almond milk, we were just like, oh, this is... Yeah, it was good. But yeah, just bumps up the opacity of the water, which is especially good if you are shooting in the nude or partially nude, because then it's much easier to mask and obscure those things that you want censored for online posting. So yeah, A+ for that.
And I love the styling that some photographers do where they do it almost all completely milk and they make it white and they lay flowers and foliage on top. It's a very nice effect, very like Ophelia in the water. For you, Vinny, how is it with editing that type of water?
So editing's always fun, especially with, it, again, depends totally on the bath bombs, and I didn't know the almond milk, and that's good to know for next time. The opacity. I'm going to get hurt after this. But
I still love you.
But yeah, so I mean, Lightroom is king when it comes to just very simple editing, especially for colors. You want good colors, but lighting is probably the biggest thing. If you get the lighting right, then everything else should work fine.
Yeah.
You don't want too bright that you're actually overtaking the water, whatever color, texture it may be. And you don't want shiny people, like you don't want those giant sunspots in someone's head or anything like that. Editing isn't too bad when it comes to just like playing, just like smoothing skin a little bit if people want it, and then bumping up colors. It can get really harrowing if there's small mistakes. Like if someone's like, oh, my one toe is peeking out, but the rest of my foot is covered, it might look a little weird, but everything else is usually not too bad. And it's very much a creative thing, so you can get as crazy or as simple as you want with it.
One of the really important things to think about with bathtub and bath bomb sheets, though, is the framing of the photo, because the way we sit in a bathtub normally is not the way you want to shoot bathtub photography, because we've got our shoulders against the back, and when you shoot like that, you've got like water to here, and then it's just all bathtub behind your head, and it's not flattering. Like, you really want to be capturing the water. So what you end up having to do is to scoot your butt way down to like the far end of the tub, so when you lean, and then leaning back so that it's just water framing the face.
It's all core.
Oh, such a core workout. It's really hard in a traditional bathtub because you've got a wall there. So, for instance, my bathtub, it's huge and great for shooting in, but it's inset in the little alcove in the wall.
So what you guys don't see is when I took the photos, I framed it so you just see the water and then Misa. What you don't see is me perched on the edge of the bathtub, holding the like spigot, and like don't move, go, don't move.
Me with my legs and feet like up the bathtub wall, just supporting myself with my core. Oh, it is awkward. It will feel very weird, but it looks A+. If you have a clawfoot tub or some other like freestanding bathtub, so much easier, because you just drape your legs over the end of the tub and you're good to go.
Or one of those kiddie swimming pools from the summer. Toys R Us is going out of business. Go get one.
In a year, this is going to be a dated reference. Which makes
That's why we keep putting these out constantly, so we're always up on the current news and cosplay.
That was very newscaster of you. But I forget what I was going to say now.
Okay, guys, we've lost it. And this is pretty much what it looks like every time we do boudoir shooting. The number one thing we have to... Go ahead.
What I was going to say. So, small thing is that, again, bath bombs, just like boudoir, you don't need a team of like 20, but you have a couple people there. One, I mean, it's a little more dangerous than just normal boudoir because you can slip and fall. There are slippery surfaces.
Put a washcloth under your butt.
Yes.
Seriously.
It's just, there are more safety concerns with
all the towels.
bath bomb, just physical accidents than there are with just normal boudoir, unless you do really crazy boudoir like what we do. But yeah, just be safe. Be safe.
Okay, guys, you see we have so much fun doing this type of stuff. This is what it looks like whenever we do boudoir shooting together. And that's the number one thing we want you guys to take away from this, is that it's meant to be fun and creative and silly at times. Never think you're pressured into doing sexy or boudoir shooting. It's always should be for you, and only for you. If you want to put them out on the internet, good for you. If you don't, fine. But we want to give you guys our tips and tricks on how to do this. Now, where can they find you, Misa? And what are your next conventions you're going to be appearing at?
So you can find me on Facebook under Misa Cosplay, Twitter also Misa Cosplay, but I don't post very often because limiting myself to 140 characters. Instagram is where I'm most active. You can find me there as Misa Rose. I also have an account on Vero as Misa Rose, and Tumblr, although I don't use Tumblr much either.
When are your next conventions you're going to be at? I know you're going to be with me at Anime Boston.
Yep, so I'll be at Anime Boston this upcoming weekend. The weekend immediately after, I'm actually going to be at Fan Expo Dallas, which is fun. I went last year and it was a good time. And then later in April, I will actually be at Calgary Comic Con up in Canada, which will be the first convention I've ever gone to in Canada, and I'm very excited.
And Vinny, where can they find you? I know you'll be at Anime Boston with us as well.
Yes, I hope to at least give you guys a quick hug before I run off doing shoes. So you can find me at Vander the Generalist. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, everything else. If you look up Vander and /photography and cosplay, you'll find me all over the place. For convention-wise, AB, I love Massachusetts because we get a bunch of crazy, awesome conventions up here. We have AB, and we have PAX coming up the week that you guys are going to be in Dallas, which I will miss you guys, but holy crap, PAX. And then ColossalCon, Otakon, all the way up and down the eastern seaboard, basically.
We're busy. Okay, and guys, as usual, you can find me on Lucky Grim Creative at Facebook. You can find me on Instagram and Vero at Lucky Grim. You can find me on Twitter. I don't use it. Good luck. And you can see me at Anime Boston in the next coming week. I will be a judge again this year, one of my favorite conventions all year long. I'll also be a guest at Dallas Comic Con, the Bulldog Collectibles Show and Cards event. Where else? Calgary Comic Con and MegaCon in Orlando. So go ahead and follow us. We'll put all the links down below, and thank you for coming to see us again. Hi guys, if you like this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it all over social media. We're trying to do a thing here, giving you guys the best news and hot topics of cosplay. Go ahead and comment down below what you want us to cover, what conventions you want us at, and anything else you want to see covered in sociology and cosplay. Don't forget, we also have amazing things coming up for Nerd Caliber, including the Cosplay and Photography Expo, and I really hope to see you guys there. All the information, once again, is going to be down below. Thank you for coming to see us.